Hai, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Sahida Nafisa binti Abdul Malik. My metric number is 269692. And my friends, Nur Adila binti Abdul Rahim with her metric number 269835. We will going to explain about falling, impact, acceleration, lifting, and vision hazard. Fall. What is fall? Fall is a movement from higher to a lower level, typically rapidly and without control. Person who is lost balance will collapse easily. There is three types of fall. First, fall on a single level, fall to a lower level, and swing fall. Most common kind of fall is trip and fall. Accidents occur when worker encounters an unseen foreign object in their path. Stump and fall. Accidents occur when a worker's foot suddenly meets a sticky surface or a defect in a walking surface. Step and fall. Accidents occur when a worker encounters an unexpected step down. And lastly, slip and fall. Accidents occur when the worker's center of gravity is suddenly thrown out of balance. For example, an oily spot. This is the most common kind of fall. Walking and sleeping. Number of injuries due to sleeping. Walking can be hazardous to a walker. First, stable platform. High degree of traction and free of obstruction. Second, unstable platform, which is low degree of traction and availability of obstruction. How surface traction is measured? Use the coefficient of friction, which is a numerical comparison of the resistance of one surface against another surface. Surface with a coefficient of friction of 0.2 or less are very slippery and very hazardous. For example, ice is 0.1. Surface with a coefficient of friction of 0.4 or higher have a good traction. For example, concrete is 0.43. Coefficient of friction and relative traction ratings. First, oil. Second, water. Third, soap. And lastly, cleaning solvent. All of these can decrease traction, but changing the shoes is not enough to ensure safety. Fall in workplace, civil construction. More than 37% employees are dead each year due to fall-related accidents. Sleepiness and sleeping were found to contribute between 40 to 50% of fall-related injuries. It must happen in same level fall than fall to lower level. Physiological effects. There is type of injuries resulting from a slip, trip, and fall. First, traumatic brain injuries, spinal cord injuries, broken hip or pelvis, shoulder or neck injury, limb fractures, and torn ligament, tendon, and muscle. Strategies for preventing slip. First, choose the right material from the outset, which is for walking surface, select surface material that has the highest coefficient of friction. Retrofit and existing surface. Retrofit existing surface with friction enhancement devices such as runner, skid strip, carpet, groove, abrasive coating, grill and texture covering. Practice good housekeeping. Regardless of the type of surface, keep it clean dry. Spilled water, grease, oil, solvent should be removed immediately. When cleaning or mopping rope-off area and erect warning signs. Require non-skid footwear. Employee who works in area where slipping is likely to be a problem should be required to wear shoes with special non-skid sole. And lastly, inspect surface frequently. Safety and health professionals should conduct frequent inspection and act immediately when a hazard is identified. Slip and fall prevention program. First, a policy statement, which is statement to convey management commitment to safety to include intent, scope of activity, responsibility, accountability, the safety professional role, authority, and standards. Second, review and acceptance of walkway, which is it is contain the criteria that will be used of reviewing all walkway surface and determining if they are acceptable. Third, reconditioning and retrofitting include recommendation and timetable for reconditioning and retrofitting existing walkway that do not meet review and acceptance criteria. Next, maintenance standard and procedure. How often surface should be cleaned, resurfaced, replaced, and procedure for meeting maintenance standards. Then, inspection, audit, test, and record. Employee footwear program, and lastly, defense method for legal claim. Ladder safety. How to use inspecting ladder. See if the ladder has the manufacturer's instruction label on it. Determine whether the ladder is strong enough. Read the label specification about weight capacity and application. Look at the following condition, which is crack on side rail, loose rung, rail or braces or damage, connection between rung and rails. Check for heat damage and corrosion. Check wooden ladder for moisture that may cause them to conduct electricity. Check metal ladder for burrs and sharp edge. And lastly, check fiberglass ladder for sign of blooming deterioration of exposed fiberglass. Do and don'ts of ladder use. Do. Check for slipperiness on shoes and ladder rung. Secure the ladder firmly on the top and the bottom. Set the ladder based on firm, level surface. Face the ladder when climbing up and down. Barricade the base of the ladder when working near an entrance. Don'ts. Don't lean against the fragile, slippery, or unstable surface. Don't lean too far to either side while working. Don't allow more than 1%. And don't carry tools while you use the ladder. Impact and acceleration hazard. First, struck by an object, which is caused by the object accelerated by gravity or other force and the resulting impact of the object on a person's body. Second, struck against an object by a person accelerated by gravity or some other force and the resulting impact on that person striking on object or surface. Head protection. Most of the company will use hard hat. Today's hard hat are made from the thermoplastic material polystyrene using injection molding process. They are designed to provide limited protection from impact primarily to the top of the head and thereby reduce the amount of impact transmitted to the head, neck, and spine.
Next, I will tell about the other dangers that can be happen to the employee and how to prevent the employee from the hazard. First, eye and face protections. As we know, there is over 80,000 workers are sustained eye injuries for each year. So, we need to assess workplace for eye hazards and develop the visions to protect them. First thing we need to assess is, do employee work near others who perform tasks that may produce advanced or flying particles? This is an example of spark and dust when do wiring can get into the worker's eyes. Next, we need to know, do employee work or handle hazardous liquid, chemical or blood? For example, doctors are people who need to deal with blood and chemical liquid that maybe can put them in dangerous and risk. Next, we need to know, do employee work in situations that may expose their eyes to instant light and laser, and do employee work in situations that may expose their eyes to chemical or physical irritants. Based on the assessing workplace for eye hazards, the vision protection program can be developed. Eye and protection training and tools can be developed to ensure that eye protection devices are used properly and to show the employee that they have a critical role to play in protecting their eyes. For eye and protection tools, we can divide into three: safety spectacles, safety goggles, and face shield. For safety spectacles, to shield their eyes from variety of impact hazard. Safety goggles, to prevent their eyes against flying fragments, objects, and particles. And meanwhile, face shield to protect entire face of the worker from exposure to impact hazards. Next, foot protection. There is a lot of type injuries might be faced by the worker when do their works. For example, puncture through the sole of the foot, conductivity of electricity of head, hot liquid or metal splashed into their shoes or boots, fall from sharp and heavy objects, slip on unstable working surface. So they need a safety boots provided by the employer to protect their worker from face the hazardous. First, we need a steel tool for impact protections. Second, rubber or vinyl chemical protections. Next, puncture resistant sole for protections against sharp objects. Fourth, slip resistant soles for protections against slippery surface. And lastly, electricity resistant material for protect from electric shock. For hand protection, mostly used for conducting work with machine or hazardous material and lifting heavy materials. Mostly, the hazard that occur are hand injuries because most jobs use hand to do work. So the workers need a common glove material to protect their hand from the hazard. For example, the common glove such as leather, cotton, aramid, stainless steel cord, chain link or metal mesh, butter rubber, bitter rubber, and others. And lastly, back injuries can be happen by lifting, handle, or carrying object. So, this is we need a proper lifting technique to prevent back injuries happen. First, we need to have a plan. We have to determine if if we can lift the load. Is it too heavy, too awkward to handle the object? We have to decide if we need assistant to handle the object. We have to check to see whether it has obstructions and slippery surface or not. Next, we have to lift with our leg, not our back. For example, we have to bend knees. We have to keep your back straight. Position on your feet close to the object. We have to center our body over the load and lift straight up smoothly and don't jerk. The next proper lifting technique is we have to push and do not pull. Pushing put less strain on our back and do not pull object. We have to use roller under the object whenever possible to help we carry the object. This is an example the proper lifting technique. And lastly, the strategies to meet PPE challenge at workplace. The strategy is need because to make maximum use of engineering and administrative control. Also to ensure the optimum choice of PPE by using risk assessment and involve employee in all aspects of the PPE programs. The strategy also to provide comprehensive education and training programs and to reinforce the proper use of PPE and challenge its improper use. The strategy to meet PPE challenge also need to be sensitive to fit, comfort and style issues and work to make PPE a normal part of the uniform. That's all. Thank you.